Welcome to Pikes Peak in Colorado. Hey all-stars, I'm about to go up to Pikes Peak in Manitoba, Colorado. In just a few moments we'll be leaving on the train to go way up high in the sky. So you'll be seeing lots of great video, and I think I might even need my jacket. If we go up Pikes Peak, it's going to get to a height of 14,110 feet at the summit. And you guys remember what the word summit means? Talk to a neighbor. Summit basically means the top of the mountain, so we're going to be up there in just a few hours. Alright, so I told you that Pikes Peak is 14,000 feet. Now to give you an idea of just how huge that is. Now first of all, Pikes Peak isn't even close to the biggest mountain in the world, yet it's so much bigger than you or I. Now if you look at me, I'm about 6 feet tall. What's a foot? Well, a foot is what we usually measure things in. And using my tape measure right here, 1 foot is about this big. So I'm about 6 of these. Curious to see how tall you are. So think about this, 14,000 of these will actually give you the measure of Pikes Peak Mountain. Now when you look at the chart, you're going to see some other comparison things. I put on there myself, which as I said is 6 feet tall. My house, 21 feet tall. And then the Statue of Liberty in New York City, that's 305 feet tall. None of them are even close to the top of Pikes Peak. Incredible. Now, a little fun activity you can do at home. You can either measure yourself with a tape measure or a ruler in inches or feet, or sometimes you measure things with really weird stuff like spoons. How tall are you in spoons? If you lay down and just put spoons end to end, maybe get somebody to help you out, find out how tall you are in spoons. If you get your answer, send it to me, and maybe you can win the prize for this week. Now here comes a history lesson about Pikes Peak. It's a very famous mountain. So back in the 1800s, early settlers wanted to go from the East Coast and travel out to the West Coast because we didn't think anybody was even living there yet. One of the main things that people wanted to go out there for was to discover different natural resources, especially gold. Now, a man named Zebulon Pike Jr. back in 1806 was actually credited as the first man to travel to the Colorado area and discover the mountain Pikes Peak, which is the mountain that I climbed up. Now, Pike didn't quite make it to the very top because he really was not expecting all of the snow and different weather that came in Pikes Peak. They actually came just wearing normal clothes and normal sneakers and shoes. They weren't ready for the deep, deep snow that occurs on the very top of the mountain. So unfortunately, they did have to go back. Years later, many other people did make that same trip, or what they would call a discovery trip called an expedition, and they started to discover gold in the area. But not so much gold at Pikes Peak. Actually, Pikes Peak almost became symbolic of the gold rush era in our country. Like I said, like while the actual mountain itself didn't have a lot of gold, all the mountains around it sure did, and many people got very rich back in the 1800s by doing this. A really interesting fun fact about Pikes Peak is that it was actually the inspiration for one of our most patriotic and famous songs, America the Beautiful. Back in 1893, singer Katharine Bates actually climbed up to the very top of Pikes Peak, and she was so blown away by its sheer majesty and beauty that she actually wrote one of the songs that serves as one of our anthems of our country. Alright class, let's find out now what happened when I got to the top of Pikes Peak Mountain. Remember, very high elevation, 14,000 feet. Let's see what happened. Right now I gotta say, as I'm climbing at the top of this mountain, the altitude is quite staggering. I'm pretty dizzy right now. We're very high up again. Top of Pikes Peak is about 14,000 feet. You can see every bit of it right there. And again, you can see some of the snow. Just letting you know just how far we are from the sea level, from the ground, allowing that snow to still be there in the very first week of June. So you might think that after climbing Pikes Peak Mountain that I'd be all tired and I'd be done with my mountain climbing days. Wrong. I decided to not only climb one mountain, but actually climb multiple mountains. Do you hear that letter at the end, that sound, that S sound? Well, a lot of times when you put an S at the end of a word, it actually makes it plural. For example, right behind me I have a nice beautiful picture. But what if I went and had two beautiful pictures? Plural pictures, a double work of art. What are some other things that you can think of that are plural? Because I can think of plural cat becomes cats, dog becomes dogs. What about movie? If I make one movie, just like this one right here, this is a great Disney classic that I love. If I only have one movie, that's singular. What if I have multiple movies? Whoa, that's a lot of movies right there, everybody. This is plural movies. Well, as I said, I'm not done quite climbing. Next up, I'm going to the Garden of the Gods, one of the most beautiful mountain ranges in all of Colorado. Welcome to the Garden of the Gods. This is in Colorado, a huge mountain range. This is the Red Rock Mountains up here. What's kind of cool is that this little funny formation up near the top is called the Kissing Camels. If you can see it all the way up there, you can kind of see where they got that nickname, because it does indeed look like two camels that like each other. So that's pretty nice. Behind us, right over here, is the White Rock, which you can kind of tell it's called White Rock because it is white. Quite a stark contrast from the Red Rock across the way. Now behind me is a very, very strange and unique piece of land here in Colorado, and its history dates way back into the 1950s and 1960s during the Cold War, when we were actually in a nuclear war with Russia, among other countries. Look way off in the distance, you're going to see a giant mountain, and it looks like there's antenna, at least a dozen of them, antennas sticking right out of the ground. Well, the reason for that is that mountain is actually hollow. They hollowed it out to make it into a safety bunker in case we ever got into a major war with Russia. They used to actually have people that would live in there, little neighborhoods, communities, and government workers. There still are a couple people that work in there, but for the most part it is abandoned at the moment. But again, really weird to think of an underground lair inside of a mountain. I'm at the Garden of the Gods in Colorado, and I'm here with Wes, who works here. Wes, what do you do here at the Garden of the Gods?
My number one job is to keep people safe. We don't want people falling off the rocks and hurting themselves. Or the other thing that I like to do is we try to protect the park from the people, so make sure people aren't knocking over our plants or hurting any of our wildlife.
Actually, what is one of the things that really attracted you to come work at the Garden of the Gods? What's so cool about it?
Just the natural beauty. This is probably one of the most beautiful spots in the city of Colorado Springs, if not the entire state. So I get to walk around in this every day.
There you go, All-Stars. I hope you enjoyed my trip to Colorado and watching me climb up some amazing, majestic mountains. I hope you also enjoyed elevating your education here on the All-Star Report, where learning is awesome. Well, until next time, have a great day, and I'll see you later on the All-Star Report.